Well, this one's been a long time coming, folks, but I finally think it's time at long last to properly introduce myself and explain why I love Apple so much. And let's get one thing clear here. Though partially, I'm openly biased towards Apple, so you can burn that comment section all day long. But if you want to watch someone who's safe, unbiased, sensitive, delicate, and tells you the exact same diplomatic, carefully constructed, crowd-appealing thing about Apple that every other cookie-cutter content creator on this platform posts, then go watch someone else, because you won't find any of that on this channel. You know, we all talk about Tesla's unstoppable and unassailable lead that no one has any dying chance of catching up with, but what if I were to tell you that that already happened with another company, way back in 2007? But that's not my story. Yeah, no, we're not going that far back. I actually grew up mostly not having any Apple products at all. I would always long for the day I could get one, though. One of my friends had an iPod Touch, probably 3rd or 4th generation, while I was stuck playing rock, paper, scissors amongst myself. My parents were never too keen on the idea of one of their sons isolating everyone around them with one of these, and the price tag sent shockwaves through the heart of my dad's wallet. You can probably guess where this is going. I finally got my very first Apple product, the iPod Touch 4th generation. But as always, there was a catch. It had to also be shared with my little brother. I may have won the battle that day, but war waged on. It wasn't until the iPod Touch 5th generation came out that my brother and I paid for so we could reduce sharing. Yeah, that didn't last long. We had previously bought the very base 8GB version iPod 4th gen, and my brother was already running out of storage. This was also the days before we had ceramic shield protection, and my brother's iPod 4 broke, and we were right back to square one. Not to mention the infamous iCloud storage almost full icon started slowly and more frequently creeping up. And it was at this point that I decided I had enough of this stupid storage icon. So we saved up again and got ourselves an iPad Pro 10.5-inch maxed out 512GB version. Definitely not something to scoff at, and still holds up pretty well even in today's standards. In fact, my brother still uses that iPad to this very day. We bought LumaFusion and quickly saw the benefits of making a living out of one of these. It wasn't until I had been dating my then that I finally got my first iPhone.
Finally!
The OG SE. It lasted me about a year. Even with all this frustration and storage space and fragile glass, there was something about it that made me keep wanting to come back. I was sick and tired of my fandroid friends and family making fun of me, in their words, buying overpriced rectangles with an Apple logo slapped across the back. I just didn't see it that way and recognized a hidden value in owning one, and I could never really figure out what it was and how to explain that to them. I knew I wasn't crazy. There had to be something, and I was determined to figure out what it was and why. It wasn't until I stumbled across another YouTuber with the same ideology of Apple as me, and that YouTuber wasn't
Marquez Brownlee
or Jonathan Morrison, Austin Evans, or even Unbox Therapy. That YouTuber was just some ginger kid in his poorly lit attic by the very strange name Talos of Tech. In the very first video I ever saw, a guy named Drew meticulously and unapologetically explained why it was stupid to even consider the possibility of mouse support for the iPad. Now titled LOL, the iPad got a mouse. Though his content wasn't conventional, that was perhaps the most refreshing thing about it to me. But regardless of the controversy and regardless of the imperfections, I instantly subscribed and was a regular. Still, I couldn't seem to figure it out. What made Apple so popular? Why do so many people, including me, love them? What made Apple click? And after a year or so of watching, I finally got my answer. 3 things really stood out to me that I'd never considered before that all of a sudden were clear as day to me and changed my whole perspective of them. Number 1. An ecosystem that to this day has no competition. And no, I'm not talking about a line of products with a corporate logo. In that regard, Apple is no leader. In spite of what the humorous memes will tell you. I'm talking about a line of products that can better simplify your lifestyle through dematerializing anything and everything that beeps and carrying that same thing over to your phone or watch or tablet or computer and back to where it came from like a sci-fi movie. And while others have tried, nothing even comes close in terms of mass simplicity and actual usability, except maybe Samsung. But even that isn't without its drawbacks. And yeah, Apple products aren't perfect, but their one-and-done experience is what leaves a lasting impact on people. Even me. Number 2, software longevity. You know what's better than having multiple devices that consolidate your lifestyle that go with you whenever and wherever you want? Dependability that will last for years to come. This one kind of goes hand in hand with number 1. Almost every Apple device makes it past the 5 to 7 year mark, which is normally much longer than people are willing to hold on to their phones for. And even if your phone cracks, you can still enjoy iOS and all 2 million optimized apps in the App Store. To all Android users who don't even know what the importance and significance of the word optimized means, it means whenever you download an app and open it, it actually freaking works.
It works. It just works.
Not sometimes, not most of the time, every time. And yeah, sometimes Apple's isn't perfect either, but it's an apple and oranges comparison, or in this case, an apples and Android comparison. Number 3, resale value. Nothing in the market even comes close. iPhones typically lose about 16% of their value year over year. For comparison, Samsung's newest and most high-end phone retains just 56.3% of its original price. And this is the best of what Android has to offer, meaning it only gets worse from here on out.
Excuse me, what?
Let that sink in. So the next time you make fun of someone who's stupid enough to buy an iPhone, just keep in mind that they could afford one in the first place. And if they're able to save up that much money, they're obviously not that dumb to begin with. To say that a phone is overpriced is a bolder statement than people seem to think it is, because that would be implying that the same experience or a better one exists despite its existence. And I personally have to strongly disagree with that. One of the most common things I hear from fandroids is that whatever features the iPhone gets, Android has had for years. And well, I'll just let one of my older videos do the talking for me here. Whatever camera upgrade the iPhone gets, Android has had for years. Can I just say, I hate when people say this. It's a statement that honestly stems from absolute ignorance. Just because you have something first doesn't mean it's good. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. Anytime Android adds a feature to their phones, it's because they could. Anytime Apple adds a feature, on the other hand, it's because it's better and actually usable. And don't just take my word for it. Ask any of the Note 7 users who had their phones spontaneously explode about how their experience has been. Hell, even the first Samsung Galaxy Fold. You're a consumer, not a beta tester. Call me crazy, but that's just how I feel. And to all you fandroids who are about to tell me that Apple had Bengate or whatever English word next to the word gate, the phone didn't spontaneously combust. It doesn't matter how you look at this. One phone had minor defects, but was ultimately still functionally operational and usable, whereas the other phone freaking exploded. And before you tell me that they said they were sorry about what they did, they shouldn't have been sorry because it shouldn't have happened. This is not up for debate.
Moving along.
Whenever Apple adds a feature that everyone has had for years, it's less a matter of Apple playing catch-up and more a matter of Apple finally plucking off a thorn on their side. Who in their right mind would want to play catch-up with someone impatient enough to wait that they're willing to eat raw, uncooked meat instead of just waiting until dinner is served? You know those truck drivers that allegedly buy trucks to haul stuff, but you never actually see them haul anything with them? That's the same guy bragging about his features for his Android. Bottom line, you could argue that you got a burger from McDonald's faster than anyone else, but if it fell on the ground and had grass in it, would you still eat it? Probably not. Meanwhile, the guy you called stupid for paying a premium at a professional restaurant who had to wait nearly 8 times as long is chowing down on his 8 times better tasting sandwich than your McDirt burger. And the follow-up I always hear to this argument is, if iPhones have the same features as Androids, then why not just buy an Android? And to that I say, Uno reverse card! I'm flipping that statement on its head. If iPhones have the same features as Androids, why not buy an iPhone? Price, right? Wrong. In spite of what everyone will tell you, Apple makes cheap phones. They're called old iPhones, and they work just fine. Nobody's got a gun up to your head to buy the newest one, so stop acting like it. Another thing I hear is that Apple cuts software support because they're greedy and force you to buy their next phone. And, well, I'll just let one of my other videos speak for itself here. Why else would they cut software support of the most inferior performing hardware in their lineup year over year? Because Apple is greedy and forces you to buy their next iPhone. Okay, now that the lazy answer is out of the way, if you consider yourself a futurist like me, you'll understand that the more people we get to adopt to a better standard, the better the overall experience will be for the end user later on. Yes, that is very sad and unfortunate that you know in the back of your mind that you'll eventually get left behind if you don't let your old phone go after a few years. But at the same time, it's also exciting to know what you'll be getting with the value that comes with that sacrifice in the long run. It's necessary. But they're anti-competitive. Let me tell you something. If you were surrounded by like 8 shoppers, all staring at the last jug of milk in the refrigerator aisle and didn't even bother to lift their hand up to open the door, wouldn't that leave you with a perfect opportunity to get it before they do? To say that someone is anti-competitive would be implying that there's any competition in the first place to begin with. And frankly, unless there's genuinely something I don't understand, I really don't see it that way. It's not somehow Apple's fault that nobody gives half a crap about their customers to want to compete with them.
What do you want from us, America?
And if there's something I don't understand about this, please tell me. I'm genuinely curious. Wait a minute. Who is it that controls the search engine again? Oh yeah, Google. And who is it that controls YouTube? Oh yeah, Google. And who is it who owns literally all of Android again? Oh, that's right, Google. I think I've been getting to see a pattern here.
Are you getting it?
Coincidence? I think not!
Google can just steal all your private data, but God forbid Apple charge you a dime over $10 for a dongle.
Woo.
But Android walked so that Apple could run. Problem. They're still walking! But they've got nothing that Android doesn't have. Okay, fanboy, if you know so much better than me, then please enlighten me what you would have changed about Apple's newest phone that would switch you from Android.
You know, one thing I should...
And don't even get me started on the whole down throttling situation they had a few years back. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, just watch Drew's video from Talos to Tech about it. Basically sums up just about everything I would have said about it. I left a link in the description. People aren't Apple sheep. In fact, if anything, I think it's far more likely people are anti-Apple sheep. I see more people blindly against Apple and hating them than blindly enthusiastic for them. And of course, ethically, they're awful. I have absolutely no disagreements there. But I'm gonna flip the same statement on its head and ask why it's bad if Apple does something bad, but it's okay if everyone else does it. And Apple always gets the flack, even if everyone else does the exact same thing, over and over and over and over and over again, because big company that make more money than me equals bad. In one of my previous videos, I talked about Samsung's Note 7 debacle. Could you just imagine for a second, just for a split second, if Apple had that happen? Oh my gosh, it would have been the end of the freaking world. But when Samsung does it, crickets. There's absolutely no way in hell you're ever gonna convince me people don't have double standards against Apple. So go ahead, blast those keyboards, send me that hate mail, tell us we buy overpriced phones, call us idiots, you can call us the stupidest, ignorant, brainless, mass-minded, indistinguishable, consumerist sheeple. But you know what? An apple a day keeps the Android away.
You know what I don't understand, though? What?
Why it's okay whenever Android down throttles phones, but it's bad whenever Apple does it.
Well, it's funny you should... I mean, see, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.